most of them are made in China, and most of them are made in our factory. Yeah, I'm telling you. But why these luxury brands never tell you that? Because they are trying to pretend to be products of some sophisticated European countries like Italy or France.
We are going to be successful. Since a few weeks the shop was open, we sell the most expensive products in a country where everybody was going by bicycle.
A slowdown and a contraction in the global luxury market. About 50 million people either opted out or were forced out of the luxury market over the past 2 years.
I do feel people started to get tired of purchasing products and realize that we just bought too much and it didn't really make us happy.
Okay, this isn't just some fashion emergency, this is a fashion apocalypse. Louis Vuitton isn't just trending for the wrong reasons. It might be on the verge of total collapse. And I mean shut the doors, turn off the lights, call your accountant, liquidate the handbags. Done. Because here's the latest shocker. Louis Vuitton has allegedly been forced to shut down its entire Monogram collection, the very foundation of its identity, after explosive claims that the designs were stolen. Not copied, not inspired, stolen. And now we're hearing whispers that flagship stores across the globe, New York, Paris, London, Tokyo, are closing indefinitely.
You recognize this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been the OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world. Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton, you name it. But for this, I am not proud because we were only making our wages. The profit margin for the people who are actually making the bags are very low.
Some execs are calling it a strategic pause. I call that what it really is, a corporate meltdown in slow motion. And here's the real kicker. This doesn't just feel like deja vu, it is deja vu. Because this all traces back to the same kind of design fraud allegations that gutted Hermès earlier this year. We're talking about fashion's most powerful houses allegedly stealing from independent creators and then selling those designs back to the public for thousands.
The chip came out. A little over 1 square foot of vaqueta leather came out, 2 different finishes. The best vaqueta leathers in the market is $7, $8. At their level, let's give them $10. And you need 2 square foot. So $20 for the leather, $5 for the materials, inner linings, fabrics, authentication, chip, and $10 for the...
Wrapped in the illusion of exclusivity. You know those monogram prints that people tattoo on their bodies? The ones influencers flash like trophies? The ones people literally go into credit card debt to buy? Yeah, those might not even be original. And if you're sitting there thinking, there's no way Louis Vuitton would fall like this, let me just stop you. The receipts are stacking up, the products are vanishing from the website, the stores are suddenly going dark, and the silence coming from LVMH? That's not strategy. That's guilt. They got caught. And now the whole empire might be crumbling. Let's break down what kicked off this firestorm.
Cost Dior less than 60 euros to make a handbag that it sells for nearly 3,000 euros. That's what Italian authorities found out when they raided factories making products for Dior and other fashion brands like...
Okay, let's go.
The Monogram collection, the sacred cow of Louis Vuitton, the pattern that made it instantly recognizable from airport lounges to red carpets, the golden symbol of luxury and status. But now, it's allegedly the biggest fraud in modern fashion history. According to viral leaks and designer forums, the monogram design wasn't even an original Louis Vuitton creation. The accusation is devastating. People are claiming that back in the early 90s, someone inside LVMH lifted a near-identical pattern from a forgotten family-run artisan brand in Spain, a collection that was buried in archives until now. And the plot twist? That artisan family kept proof. Documents, sketchbooks, material samples, and after decades of silence, the descendants of the original artist, they've lawyered up. They're not just asking for acknowledgement. They're allegedly suing. This isn't just a copyright fight. If this lawsuit holds water, it could mean the monogram print was never theirs to begin with. Which means every monogram handbag, every scarf, every piece of that collection sold over the past 30 years was built on a lie. I think this is insane. Truly. Because Louis Vuitton didn't just build a brand off that pattern, they built an empire. The monogram print isn't just decoration. It's their entire personality. It's how they created the illusion of legacy, of craftsmanship, of belonging to something rare. And if it turns out they stole it, that smug, gatekeeping aura they had about protecting their designs, that high horse attitude about counterfeits and knockoffs, yeah, that was all projection. Honestly, it's like finding out your favorite Michelin-starred chef has been serving microwave TV dinners for the last 20 years. Just slap a logo on it and pray nobody finds out. Now, let's talk about the ice queen of this entire mess, Delphine Arnault. She's not just some random executive, she's fashion royalty, the daughter of Bernard Arnault, the head of LVMH, aka the richest man in Europe. Delphine was handpicked to protect the Louis Vuitton brand like it was the Holy Grail. And what does she do when this bombshell drops? She shuts everything down, pulls the plug on the Monogram collection overnight. No press conference, no detailed statement, just a vague line about pivoting the brand's focus and streamlining the product line. Girl, please. This wasn't streamlining. This was a digital crime scene cleanup. And here's the thing. I think she's known about this for a while, maybe even years. You don't cancel an entire global collection that fast unless the risk of exposure is already boiling over. I think she waited as long as she could. And then when the receipts started surfacing online, she hit the kill switch. I mean, think about it. If the monogram was truly theirs, why wouldn't she defend it? Why wouldn't she sue them for defamation? Instead, she ghosted. Nuked the product line. Canceled it like a bad PR intern. That doesn't look like power. That looks like panic. And if Delphine Arnault, the face of luxury's future, had to shut the entire collection down to save her career, that tells me this scandal goes way deeper than a stolen pattern. It makes you wonder, what else is fake? Now, here's where things get even messier. As of this week, Louis Vuitton stores in New York, Paris, London, Milan, and Tokyo are reportedly closed. Some say it's temporary, some say it's for remodeling. But if you believe that, I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. This isn't remodeling. This is damage control, on a scale we've never seen before in luxury fashion. Flagship locations, stores that never close, are suddenly going dark without warning. Customers are getting emails saying their orders are canceled. Staff are reportedly being told to stay home until further notice. HR departments are ignoring emails. Some employees are even posting anonymously on Reddit, saying they were given zero explanation for the closures. This feels exactly like what you do when you're trying to get ahead of a leak, when lawsuits are already filed and you know journalists are circling. This is not a business pivot. This is a full-blown retreat. And think about the timing. The monogram collection allegedly gets exposed. Lawsuits start surfacing, then stores begin closing, one by one, city by city, like dominoes. That's not coincidence. That's a controlled demolition. And here's the part that really gets me. If Louis Vuitton is willing to shut down billion-dollar locations to hide the fallout from this, how bad is the stuff we haven't heard yet? Because this doesn't feel like just one stolen print. This feels like the tip of the iceberg. And if they're willing to take this level of loss, it must be because the alternative, the truth, is even worse. The ripple effects, they're already slamming into the rest of the luxury world like a tidal wave. And honestly, they're not ready. Because if Louis Vuitton, a brand so big it basically wrote the book on luxury, can fall like this, who's safe? Dior, Fendi, Loewe? Let's not forget Gucci barely survived its own production scandal last year, and Hermès is still crawling through the mud from the Birkin fallout. The whole industry looks fragile now, like a house of cards built on exclusivity and recycled logos, and you can feel the panic. You can see it. Suddenly, influencers who used to brag about their forever pieces are dead silent. Stylists are scrambling to archive red carpet pics. Fashion editors are changing the subject. Even Vogue is weirdly quiet. You think that's a coincidence? I don't. I think this exposed the truth everyone knew, but refused to say out loud. Luxury doesn't mean craftsmanship anymore. It means power. It means control. It means keeping the illusion alive at all costs. These brands convinced us that $2,000 bags were investments, like stocks with stitching. That gatekeeping your way into a boutique somehow meant you were entering a secret society of elegance and status. But now, we're seeing the truth. That entire illusion is smoke and mirrors. Thin, fragile, and one lawsuit is all it took to shatter it. And the resale market? Oh, they're panicking too. The prices are tanking. That Monogram Neverfull that used to be worth $3,000 on StockX, slashed in half. Resellers are selling off their inventory like it's fire sale season. Because once that logo is tainted, the game is over. The price drops, the prestige dies, and the investment becomes a glorified duffel bag. Let's talk lawsuits, because now the legal floodgates are opening, and I think we're about to witness a legal bloodbath. Multiple independent designers have already come forward, claiming Louis Vuitton ripped off their work, and it's not just talk. They've got documentation, emails, sketches, photos, patent filings. There's even a rumor that one designer had a sample shown at a Fashion Week showcase back in '93 that mysteriously disappeared, only to show up years later as a new release from LV. If that's true, that's not inspiration. That's theft with receipts. And here's the thing. These aren't random Etsy designers throwing stones. These are industry veterans, and some of them, they've been waiting for this moment, quietly collecting proof, building cases, and now that Louis Vuitton's walls are cracking, they're coming out of the shadows with their files in hand. And if just one of these lawsuits sticks, it won't just be a PR disaster. It'll be a financial death sentence, because LVMH doesn't just own Louis Vuitton. They own Dior, Celine, Givenchy, Fendi, Loewe, Hublot, Tiffany. The list goes on. If one brand is proven to have profited off design theft, that door stays open, and every other brand under that umbrella becomes vulnerable to the exact same accusations. Yes, I think that's what terrifies them. Not the scandal itself, but the precedent it sets. Because if Louis Vuitton loses in court, then the whole luxury world has to answer for decades of creative borrowing dressed up as homage. This is the part no one's supposed to hear, but they're talking. Quietly. Anonymously. And it's damning. Louis Vuitton employees, from sales associates to back-end IT, are starting to leak info. And I'm not talking vague rumors. I'm talking full-on descriptions of internal chaos. Sales staff were reportedly told not to answer any questions about the Monogram collection. Some say they were given new scripts. Phrases like, "We're evolving our brand identity," or "We're phasing out to make room for innovation." Total nonsense. Just polished ways of saying, "We're hiding the evidence." Meanwhile, some in-house designers got yanked off projects overnight. Meetings were canceled. Collections were delayed indefinitely. Multiple Reddit and Glassdoor posts describe creative teams being ghosted by leadership for days, left completely in the dark. And the wildest leak of all? An alleged IT contractor claimed that he and his team were asked to wipe entire design drives before the weekend. Just gone. No explanation, just a vague directive from above to clean house. That doesn't sound like routine maintenance. That sounds like a cover-up in motion. And yeah, the NDAs are flying. That's the only reason we haven't seen a full-blown whistleblower expose yet. But here's the thing about NDAs. They don't last forever, especially when the money dries up and people start getting scapegoated. And you know, someone's gonna crack. Someone always does. So here's where I land. Louis Vuitton is allegedly shutting down its most iconic collection because they finally got exposed. Stores are closing, lawsuits are looming, the fashion world is in freefall, and the silence from LVMH? That's the loudest part. I think this is the beginning of the end for LV as we know it. Not because of one bad design, but because they built a legacy on a lie, and now that lie's coming undone. If you ask me, this is more than a scandal. This is a reset button for the luxury industry. And maybe it's about time, because if the house of Louis Vuitton can fall, maybe it was never that strong to begin with.